Yo, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another video. Now, as you know, the Battlefront 2 campaign trailer just got released, and it looks amazing. So in this video, we're going to be going through the trailer bit by bit, breaking it down, seeing if there's anything that we missed when we first watched it the first time. So let's go. So the trailer opens with the shot we saw yesterday with the MC-80 Star Cruiser. Now I believe this is the rebel ship that is holding Iden, which we see in the next shot. Now again, as we saw yesterday, her droid comes into the room that she's being held captive and frees her, which makes me think he's going to be a very handy companion. He or she, we're 2017 now. Then of course we hear that very familiar sound, which is like so iconic. And you know what scene this reminds me of, right? We then get this really nice shot of Iden's ship landing on what appears to be Vardos, her home planet. Following this, we see a shot of the second Death Star, and we get to see Admiral Versio. Now initially I thought he was on the Death Star, but that can't be the case if it blows up. And from the shot we get to see later on in the trailer, it's pretty obvious that he is commanding a Star Destroyer ship just off the surface of Vardos, Iden's home planet. We then get to see Iden and Inferno Squad obviously on an undercover mission on Endor. Now what's interesting about this is you can actually see one of Iden's Inferno Squad members using a DLT-19X sniper. Now this weapon in the previous game was really poor. It wasn't a one-shot, oh Jesus, nearly slipped up terribly there. It wasn't a one-shot kill unless it was a headshot, and it had a really bad cooling mechanism. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays in this game. Now the next shot is really cool. Now this confirms that we can play in first person on the Battlefront 2 campaign. Now this might be really cool for some people because you genuinely can't play in first person on Battlefront 2 online without being at a disadvantage. So that gives those players that want to play in first person and enjoy the game from that perspective the chance to do so. Also in this particular shot we can see actually another form of jet trooper, which is pretty interesting. Then we get to see a really nice shot of Iden putting on her helmet just as the narrative of the Admiral says we retaliate. Following this we get to see what I think is the Battle of Vardos. Now on the left, when Iden gets into a TIE fighter, we can see a moon. Now I assume that is the moon of Vardos because when it pans to the right, you actually get to see the planet's surface in the background. Also in the background of this shot, we get to see another rebel starship. The same one we saw at the beginning of the trailer, which I assumed was holding Iden captive, so this might be the mission you do just before she does get caught. Now this next clip is actually really interesting. Now it seems that Iden has actually managed to get on board one of the rebel starships. This is obviously one of the missions you undergo to try and take out this starship, and perhaps this is the way that Iden gets caught. We then get to see a massive explosion similar to the one in Rogue One, and also these kind of weird looking things in the background like jellyfish brains. I don't know, man. If you guys know what they are or what that is, please let me know down in the comments below. And next, what I think is super interesting is the fact that Iden is talking about the rebellion ending. And accompanied by this commentary, we actually get to see a hologram of her that seems to be talking to the rebellion officers or generals. I'm not sure whether you guys spotted this on your first watch, but you may have missed that C-3PO is in the background, man. So that's really cool, and we'll probably be seeing a little bit more of him in the campaign. And also, you know who else is close by when C-3PO is hanging about. Also in the background of this shot we can see a Quarren and a Duros, which again reiterates to me how we could potentially be able to customize our characters online. Similar to the previous Battlefront, hopefully they go a little bit more in depth with it this time, but it's still cool to be an option. Next we see an X-Wing actually crashing into what seems to be an Imperial Star Destroyer. Then a nice shot of Iden's ship flying away. I'm not too sure where she's flying away from. And we also get to see these weird dish things with like lasers coming up from underneath them. What is that? A TIE fighter then zooms into shot, and we get to see the Millennium Falcon flying over Maz's castle on Takodana. Based on the time that it's set, that means we'll probably be seeing Han Solo, Leia, Chewie, etc. in the campaign. Now of course we've all played on Theed in the Battlefront 2 beta. Here we get to see the Imperials actually invading Theed. On the left we have an Imperial shuttle, and then to the bottom right hand side of the shot we have two AT-ATs being carried by an unnamed Imperial carrier. Now I've actually looked it up and I can't find a name for this carrier. The only one that I know about is the Y-85 Titan dropship, which can hold up to 4 AT-ATs at a time. We get another look at this carrier and the 2 AT-ATs in the next shot. Now the next bit was one of the most interesting parts of the trailer. In the narrative we can hear over all of these images that were being shown, we actually hear one of Iden Versio's squad members saying to her this is not our mission.
This is not our mission!
Iden then replies saying, I am your commander, stand down, so we get to see a little bit of conflict going on within Inferno Squad. Now this starts to spice things up a little, man. Is this conflict actually going to turn into violence? I don't know, dude. Following this, we get to see a very interesting part of this trailer. Now I'm sure that you guys wouldn't have spotted this the first time you watched it, because I didn't. We actually can see an AT-AT shooting an AT-ST and Imperial soldiers on the ground. Now I'm pretty sure the location they're in is Vardos because we can identify it by the Imperial flags that are flying on the left of the shot. Now why is this AT-AT shooting at AT-STs? You know, is it rebels in an AT-AT invading Vardos? I very much doubt it, but that could just be the trick of the editing and the narrative, you know, them saying this is not our mission, showing conflict, and then showing us that shot of an AT-AT shooting at friendlies. This then also leads me to believe that the next shot we see, which we've seen pretty early on during the build up to Battlefront 2, of the AT-ATs walking into Vardos, meaning that yes, Imperials are attacking other Imperials. Why? Then we get further conflict between Iden and her father. Him saying, you take orders from me. This is very, very interesting. I'm really interested to see what happens, and you know, the fact that no one really knows what they're fighting for anymore. Does it all fall apart? Iden doesn't know what she's fighting for anymore. Her team aren't listening to her. She's not taking orders from the Admiral like she should be doing. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all unfolds. Also in this trailer, we see Princess Leia as a hologram. Now I don't know if you heard it the first time, but if you listen carefully, you can hear R2-D2 in the background. Now this leads me to believe that R2-D2 is actually the droid projecting the hologram. We don't know who the message is going to, but it's really cool to be able to see Leia, and we know that we're going to see R2-D2 in the campaign as well. So that might have been something that you missed the first time you watched the trailer. We also get to see a very short shot of Maz. As you can see on the left side of the shot, it is kind of moving, which insinuates someone is actually there, but I can't really differentiate between the two because it's just in the middle of a dissolve transition, so I can't really see too clearly. Then very interestingly, to wrap up the trailer, we actually get to see Kylo Ren's hand. I know that sounds really stupid and simple, but why have they put that in the single player trailer? How does Kylo Ren fit into this story? How does he fit into this timeline? Is it even Kylo Ren? No, it is. It's got to be. I'm pretty sure it is. And then finally, to close the trailer, we see Iden Versio walking away, and she looks pretty beat down, man. Her face really shows lack of enthusiasm. She seems confused, potentially upset by the orders that she's been given, or, you know, pretty astounded by the things that she's being asked to do. I'm not too sure, but that's going to wrap up my thoughts on the Star Wars Battlefront 2 single campaign trailer for today. Let me know if you saw something very interesting that I missed, so others can be aware of it down in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new so you don't miss any new Battlefront 2 content, and I'll see you guys on the next video.